In 1971, a man walked into a bank in Miami carrying a briefcase and a calm smile. He told the teller he was there to open an account. Everything about him looked normal: his suit, his posture, his polite tone. But one FBI agent watching the security feed noticed something the cameras almost missed. The man's feet were pointed directly at the exit. Not at the teller, not at the counter, at the door. 30 minutes later, that man attempted to rob the bank. His mouth said one thing. His feet said the truth. That FBI agent later became one of the most respected nonverbal communication experts in the world. His name is Joe Navarro, and what he learned over 25 years of catching spies and criminals is this: the body never lies, the mouth does, the words do. But the body is running on software that was written hundreds of thousands of years before language ever existed. Today, we are going to decode that software. You are going to learn how to read anyone, not in hours, not in days, in 5 minutes. Before you can spot a lie, you need to know what the truth looks like. This is the single most important concept in behavioral analysis, and most people skip it entirely. They look for crossed arms and assume defensiveness. They see someone avoid eye contact and assume guilt. But none of that means anything without a baseline. A baseline is a person's normal behavior when they are relaxed and unstressed. Some people naturally fidget. Some people rarely make eye contact even when they are being completely honest. If you do not establish what is normal for them first, every read you make will be wrong. Joe Navarro spent years at the FBI developing what he calls the comfort-discomfort paradigm. When a person is comfortable, their body opens up. They spread out, they gesture freely, their face is animated. When they become uncomfortable, the body begins to close. Arms pull in. Shoulders rise toward the ears. The jaw tightens. A study published in the journal Psychological Science in 2006 found that observers who first established a behavioral baseline were 67% more accurate at detecting deception than those who relied on stereotypical cues like avoiding eye contact. 67%. That is the difference between guessing and knowing. The practical takeaway is simple. Before you try to read anyone, spend 2 minutes watching them when the stakes are low. Watch how they sit. Watch how they talk. Watch what their hands do when they are telling you something mundane, something you know is true. That is your map. Everything after that is navigation. There is a reason interrogators pay more attention to the eyes than to anything else. The eyes are controlled by some of the oldest neural circuits in the human brain, circuits that respond faster than conscious thought. When a person is genuinely surprised, their eyelids retract and the white of the eye becomes visible above the iris. This happens in a fraction of a second and cannot be faked convincingly. When a person is stressed or threatened, their blink rate increases, sometimes doubling or tripling. When they are processing a difficult lie, their gaze often shifts upward and to the right, though this is less reliable than popular psychology suggests. What is more reliable is pupil dilation. Research by psychologist Eckhart Hess in the 1960s showed that pupils dilate when a person is interested, aroused, or cognitively overloaded, and constrict when they are repulsed or disengaged. You cannot control your pupils. They are governed by the autonomic nervous system, the same system that controls your heartbeat. A 2012 study at the University of Utah found that subjects who were lying showed measurably larger pupil dilation than those telling the truth, even when they believed their lies were convincing. The cognitive effort of constructing a false narrative literally shows up in the eyes. The practical application: when you ask someone a question that matters, watch their eyes in the first half second. Not after they start talking, before. The initial flash of the eyes is the truth. Everything after that is editing. Most people think the face is the most expressive part of the body. It is not. The face is the most controlled part of the body. We learn to manage our facial expressions from childhood. We smile when we do not want to. We look calm when we are afraid. The face is a performance. The hands are where the real information lives. Navarro calls the hands emotional billboards because they broadcast what the brain is actually processing. When a person is confident, their hands move freely. They use illustrators, open palm gestures that accompany speech. When a person is anxious or deceptive, their hands retreat. They go into pockets. They grip objects. They touch the neck, the face, the chest. One of the most reliable stress indicators is called hand wringing, interlocking the fingers and squeezing. It is a self-soothing behavior, a way the limbic system tries to calm the body down. Another is the fig leaf position, where both hands clasp in front of the groin. It looks formal. It is actually protective. Research published in the Journal of Nonverbal Behavior in 2008 demonstrated that hand gestures decrease by nearly 40% when a person is being deceptive, compared to when they are telling the truth. The brain diverts resources away from natural gesturing and toward the cognitive task of maintaining the lie. The takeaway: when someone's hands suddenly go still or hidden mid-conversation, pay attention. Something just changed in their mind, and their hands are the first to know. If the hands are billboards, the feet are the body's most honest informants, and almost nobody watches them. Navarro argues that the feet are the most reliable indicator of true intent because they are the farthest from the brain and therefore the least consciously controlled. When a person wants to leave a conversation, their feet turn toward the nearest exit, even if their face is smiling and their words are agreeable. When a person is engaged and interested, their feet point directly at the person they are talking to. This is not folk psychology. It is rooted in the freeze-flight-fight response. The feet are the body's primary escape mechanism. In moments of stress, the limbic system prepares the legs to move before the conscious mind has even registered the threat. The direction the feet point reveals where the subconscious mind wants to go. A study conducted at the University of Manchester in 2015 found that foot orientation was a more reliable predictor of a person's desire to end a social interaction than any facial expression or verbal cue. Participants whose feet angled away from their conversation partner were 3 times more likely to end the interaction within the next 60 seconds. Start watching feet. In meetings, in conversations, on dates, the feet will tell you what the smile will not. In the 1960s, psychologist Paul Ekman began studying something that would change our understanding of deception forever. He called them microexpressions. Involuntary facial expressions that last between 1/15th and 1/25th of a second. They are so fast that most people never consciously see them, but they are always there. Ekman identified 7 universal emotions that produce distinct microexpressions across every culture on Earth: happiness, sadness, fear, anger, disgust, contempt, and surprise. These expressions are hardwired. A person born blind makes the same face of disgust as a person who has been seeing their entire life. You cannot train them away. When a person feels one emotion but displays another, the true emotion will flash across the face for a fraction of a second before the mask goes on. A flicker of contempt during a compliment. A flash of fear behind a confident statement. A micro-expression of anger concealed behind a smile. Research by Ekman and his colleague Maureen O'Sullivan found that fewer than 1% of people are natural truth wizards who can spot micro-expressions without training. But here is the remarkable part. With as little as 1 hour of focused training, detection accuracy improves by over 40%. The ability to read micro-expressions is a learnable skill. The key is not to look for specific expressions, but to look for incongruence, moments where the face does not match the words. That mismatch, even for a fraction of a second, is where the truth lives. Now you have the pieces. Here is how you assemble them in real time. The first 2 minutes are for baselining. Ask easy, low-stakes questions. Observe their default posture, gesture rate, blink rate, and eye contact patterns. Note where their hands rest and which direction their feet point. Minutes 2 through 4 are for probing. Ask questions that matter. Watch for deviations from the baseline, the sudden stillness of the hands, the shift in foot direction, the rise in blink rate, the flash of a micro-expression that contradicts the spoken words. Each deviation is a data point. One deviation means nothing. A cluster of deviations means everything. The final minute is for confirmation. Return to a safe, low-stakes topic. Watch whether their body returns to baseline. If it does, you have identified a specific pressure point. If it does not, the discomfort is broader. They may be uncomfortable with you, the environment, or the entire interaction. This is not about catching liars. This is about understanding humans. Every person you meet is broadcasting a continuous stream of information that most people never learn to receive. Their comfort, their fear, their interest, their desire to leave, it is all there, written in a language older than words. The question was never whether people are readable. They are. The question is whether you are paying attention. And now, you have no excuse not to be.